guys, I'm now 6 weeks post-op and I just thought I would share with you a quick little update just to say how I've got on, found the whole experience since having the gastric sleeve surgery. Firstly, I've lost 20.3 kilo in those 6 weeks, which works out about 3 stone, so I'm feeling fantastic about that. Really pleased with how quickly and easily I found the whole process, and the weight is just flying off at the moment. When I've been out and about, people have been complimenting and noticing the difference. And also I noticed it in myself, I've got much more energy now. And again, like after the surgery, I've not felt any pain or discomfort. Still not taking any of the pain medication that were prescribed. I'm still taking the stomach protector every day. First thing in the morning, we take that, as well as the multivitamin. And obviously now, with me being 6 weeks post-op, those blood thinners have now finished. First 2 weeks were the liquid stage. That was one thing that I was a bit worried about before the surgery itself. But actually the liquid stage I found quite easy. The protein shakes, they were okay to have. I was having maybe one a day, and then also having things like soups and water throughout the day, maybe a glass of apple juice as well. By the sort of end of the second week, I was ready to start on proper food again. It did get a bit boring, the liquid stage, I won't lie, but once moved on to puree, then obviously we started introducing food. The puree wasn't my favourite stage. Mashing up the food and having it like baby food was a bit of something that I had to sort of get over in my head. It wasn't The taste was okay, but it was just the texture that I found a bit funny, and I was glad when the puree stage was finished. Funny enough, the one thing I did notice, as soon as I started on the puree, that was when I really noticed the restriction, and all of a sudden not being able to eat as much as I would usually. I was having maybe 2-3 spoonfuls of food and feeling full, like I could not eat anymore. With the puree stage, I found doing little and often was much easier than trying to force any food down. Sickness wise, I've not had any except for one occasion, and that was also on the puree stage when I tried some chicken, just normal chicken breast, and I sort of pureed it up. I had the one bite and I thought, not too sure on this. I had a second bite and then I knew I was going to be sick, so we stopped eating that. I cut that out for 2 weeks and then brought that back in when I was onto the soft food. And so far so good. I have been alright with the chicken itself. So with the puree stage, I was glad, as I say, when that ended. Then I moved on to the soft food stage from week 5 onwards, and that I've had no issues with whatsoever. A few of those times when I've been on the soft food, I've actually gone out for meals, and again had no issue whatsoever. The only thing that I say is really important to remember is to really take your time when you're eating. I've slowed down so much than I would have done before when I'm having a meal. Really chewing the food, taking small bites, resting if need be in between bites, just to let the food go down and settle. And then obviously re-eating again. Drinking, I don't drink anything while I'm eating. I make sure that there's at least 30 minutes between drinking and then eating, and then the same from eating to drinking. I give a gap of about 30 minutes. Gulp wise, I can't take as much as a gulp as I did prior to the surgery, but I do find that I'm not one that can only take little small sips. I can take quite a big gulp when I'm drinking, which is something that I'm quite pleased about. And as I say, the soft food stage has been probably the best of the stages for me. Again, you do feel the restriction. I would say I can probably eat a quarter at the most of how I would normally have been eating meals. With food, I'm sticking to high protein food, so a lot of meats and things like cheeses. Cheese at the moment is my go-to snack, really, and the body's definitely craving some cheese. Also, things like luncheon meats, baby bells, really good. They're quite high in protein and really convenient because you can just pull them out of the fridge. Yogurts, again, fantastic. You can just pull one out. I find actually for breakfast, I sort of struggle with foods to have for breakfast just because in the morning I'm usually in a rush. So I find that just grabbing a protein yogurt or a couple of those little munch bunch yogurts out the fridge are perfect for me. And then obviously I'll have a proper lunch and then evening meal and just make sure that it's high protein foods. Things like chicken I'm having a lot more now after the puree incident. Beef, turkey, I'm really enjoying also. With the chicken, I find it's much easier to have like a drumstick or a thigh rather than just having the chicken breast itself. And also, I'm adding sauces to keep sort of the food moist. So whether it's a gravy or like a little dollop of barbecue sauce, ketchup, just something to keep the food a little bit wetter than how it would normally be. But I have to say, so far so good. Really enjoying sleeve life. It's much easier than what I thought it would be. I thought I would struggle a little bit, but obviously I am still very early days, so I'm sure there will be some foods that I try and introduce. As of tomorrow, with it being week 6, that's when I can start introducing more foods that I would have eaten before the op. So I am expecting to find maybe 1 or 2, 3 things that I did used to have before the op that maybe just doesn't agree with me. But the advice for that is just to cut that out for 2 weeks and then try reintroducing it again slowly. Throughout the 6 weeks, I've also been out a few times to restaurants with friends, work colleagues. So that's been really good experience. My social life has not been impacted by the sleep whatsoever. The only thing now is that I eat much slower than what I used to do, and I'm not afraid to ask for any leftovers to be put into a little doggy bag, and then I'll bring them home and have them maybe for evening meal or the next day. With the restaurants as well, I do tell them that I've had the surgery and just to give me a smaller portion, so maybe like a kid meal. And every restaurant that I've been in so far has been perfectly happy to do that for us. So drink wise, as I say, I am able to take quite good gulps of drinks when I'm drinking. My water intake, I won't lie, isn't great. That is something that I'm building on every day. Sort of after the op, I was getting in a good 2 litres of water, but then when I started introducing the food, that is when I found that the intake daily was dropping. So that is something that I am quite not concerned about, but something that I'm focused on to try and get that increase to 2 litres. Apple juice, I'm finding I enjoy a lot. Maybe I'll have a glass of that in the morning after I've taken the stomach protector and waited 30 minutes. And also pineapple juice is something that I'm really enjoying at the moment. So as I say, so far so good. Tomorrow I move on to week 6, which is when I can start introducing the foods that I would have had normally. But again, I'm looking at it more as trial and error. So I will probably try introducing maybe 1 new food each day and just see how I get on.